Good evening, I am Adventure Argonaut. This is the Golden News, and I will talk about the news of the past week. And well, it's gonna be obvious what the main topic is. Is of course gonna be the war in Iran and everywhere in the Middle East, and all of that stuff. But I will save the best for the last because I want to get like past the less interesting or less pressing topics first. So that, but yeah, and my streams all look to be working. So let's go and see the first topic. So yeah, the war is gonna be last, and I didn't have time to write the titles. But anyway, so this is about Epstein files, like some Epstein names were named by Thomas Massey at least. So let's go have a look. What do we have here? So Thomas Massey just went nuclear on Trump's DOJ for bringing zero charges, arrests, or investigations over Epstein files. Who should be investigated? I'll name them right here. Leon Black, Jess Staley, accused of terrible things. Leslie Wexner. Why did the FBI list him as a co-conspirator in their own documents in child sex trafficking case and then tell him that they had no questions for him? Over 3 million documents describing horrible things, unspeakable things, much of it redacted. Over 2 dozen people have resigned, CEOs, members of government worldwide, but I haven't seen any arrests or investigations here in the United States. Prince Andrew, Duke of York, who has since been stripped of his royal titles due to his affiliation with Jeffrey Epstein, has been arrested. Peter Mandelson, who previously served as UK's ambassador to the United States, resigned in disgrace from UK's House of Lords and the Labour Party, and he's been arrested. Former Prime Minister of Norway, Thorbjørn Jagland, has been charged, but we don't see any charges, arrests, or investigations in the United States. What do we see? We see our FBI director celebrating in the locker room at the Olympics overseas. We need justice. Well put, and of course, very relevant. Right now, even though the war is going on, it's still, this Epstein stuff is part of the reason why the war is even happening. And I have too many tabs open, so my computer is really complaining. So let's see if we can get through this. And what's this? So what is ICYMI? I don't know what the acronym stands for anyway. So the former chief economist of World Bank, former president of Harvard University, former Treasury Secretary for Clinton, former director of National Econ Council for Obama, former board member of OpenAI. So does it mean that these people are former because of they been mentioned in the Epstein files, so either they've been arrested or resigned or whatever? And Larry Summers has resigned from Harvard due to Epstein files. You're welcome. Yeah, at least he's doing something good. Like I wouldn't, some people claim that Thomas Massey is being, built into the hero, so he gains our trust and then, back stabs us in the back, and that's certainly a possibility. But at least he's one of the, politicians in the world that is actually doing some good. But of course, we shouldn't trust him 100%. And Alex Jones is sounds like Alex Jones he used to be. The Israeli government ran Epstein security slash camera system at his New York command base, confirming he was a foreign intelligence asset working for Israel. So top whistleblower, blah blah blah. Okay, so this is massive information. Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad asset. Like we knew that, but nice of Alex Jones to admit it. Or is he trying to make the information be less trustworthy because it's just something that Alex Jones said, so it's probably not true? Maybe that's what his goal is. Okay, are you? Yes, it's loading. So Epstein grew a prostate back. The guy is straight up still walking on Earth. The medical examiner who studied Epstein's corpse noted an enlarged prostate, but Epstein's own words and medical records in the released file seem to indicate his prostate was removed. So some Richard guy asked, "You can have high testosterone and still have need for Viagra because you don't have a prostate, right?" "Correct," Jeffrey Epstein said. So according to the American Urological Association, serum PSA should decrease and remain at undetectable level after radical prostatectomy. But your bladder contains approximately 5 milliliters of cloudy yellow urine. Oh, very interesting. Thank you for telling us that. Prostate is highly and diffusely enlarged with marked enlargement in the Veren montanum. No idea what that is. Testes are unremarkable. Unremarkable. Burn. But yeah, prostate is slightly and diffusely enlarged. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, is it the same guy whose autopsy they had made, or is this document here fake? I don't know. What's the case? Jeffrey Epstein says they Jews hate Trump, but likely will use lawfare instead of killing him as they did with JFK. So it's from 2018 when Trump was a president already. So the established, and doesn't say who are the sender participants, established, except this, okay, J iTunes, I guess that's Epstein self, okay. Establishment hates Trump. The good news is they are getting him resign, I guess getting him to resign by fighting illegality rather than doing what they did to JFK. Well, Trump didn't resign, but yeah, I guess the establishment doesn't hate him anymore. Epstein speculating that Trump, if cornered like a rat, could trigger a larger conflict, including bombing Iran to create a crisis and rally public support. So, 2018 again. Total diversion right is on to him. I'm not gonna read all of this. I'm gonna try to find a bit about Iran and starting a war and that. Um, You guys need to understand he is psychotic and would not blink twice at encouraging an attack on us, so he can leap to the country's defense mindset. If I go down, I'm taking everyone with. So if that, okay, so it's Epstein is sending it to somebody else. Yeah, he's psychotic. Okay, it's twice the same comment. Cornering a rat, never a good idea. China, I guess Pakistan, Russia, and Turkey, Iran. He might also have just decided to trade the Kurds to Turkey for them standing down on Saudi. The game is on. My God, is he that cornered? Uh, I don't see the Iran comment here. Oh, okay, maybe here. They are going drip by drip, but rats go crazy before the cage closes. Too much time, and Republicans are beginning to understand. I wouldn't be surprised to see him do things that might encourage real problem. So he can rush the country's defense. Okay, this is some of the same comments, but less small. Okay, we only had 2,000 troops there. If he were to bomb Iran, they would be slaughtered. That would be crazy. Okay, not from his perspective. Okay. It means something. I've heard it before. Claimed that Epstein claimed that Trump is the most evil man he knows, and it means something. It either means that Trump is truly evil or that Trump is actually a good guy if Epstein thought he was evil. So I guess I would, right now it would seem just Trump is just evil. World Economic Forum president and CEO Borge Brende resigns after the forum opens investigation into his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, I don't think, the World Economic Forum really cares that, or is surprised that he had ties to Epstein, but of course they're doing it sort of to, um, let off the heat or something. Please tell me this isn't real. I'm clinging to hope it's fake because if it's true, I'm gonna explode. My health's been falling apart ever since that Pfizer jab. So what's this? This is from 2015 between Epstein and somebody else. To Terje Larsen. So Terje, I think that's it's probably like a Norwegian name or something. Please find attached a draft agenda for the meeting on preparing for pandemics as requested. Let's discuss next steps. For example, how to officially involve the HOW and the ICRC, i.e., co-branding. Best regards. I hope we can pull this off. And oh yeah, the Geneva meeting on pandemics agenda. Like, of course, this isn't. And there's also Michael Sarnitz, Camilla Rexton Monsen, Andrea Fanzelter. I don't know who these are. Yeah, preparing for pandemic. So like, of course, this could be just genuine, but like, why is it Epstein? Like, as far as I know, he didn't. Wasn't a medical professional. Like Bill Gates as well. Like, why is so interested? So yeah, this is a bit sus, but certainly not a smoking gun. Let's see, what's this? So it's officially confirmed that COVID-19 was a scam conducted by these pedophiles. Read it for yourself. That sounds like a hyperbole, but let's have a look. So please find attached, this is also Geneva meeting on pandemics agenda, same stuff. Please find attached a draft agenda for the meeting on preparing for pandemics as requested. Yeah, it's just the same. So yeah, it's not the smoking gun. Like it's certainly, you can say it's evidence. It might suggest that COVID 19 was conducted by them, but like this is small evidence hint into that direction, perhaps, but it's not ultimate proof or anything. Like I'm not saying it's not the claim isn't valid or anything, but just saying that particular email is not anything that doesn't have that much gravity. Anyways, the Rothschild Group says it will review itself after CEO Ariane de Rothschild was named in Epstein's files linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Well, uh, the Rothschilds aren't surprised by this revelation. They knew, like see, the Rothschilds are attacking my computer. Okay, now it's working again. It was laggy. So the Rothschilds aren't surprised of this connection between Ariane the Rothschild and Epstein because Epstein worked for the Rothschilds. Of course they know, but like I do believe they will review. They will like, oh yeah, they knew each other. Like let's just see if there's anything that we can or make sure there are no traces pointing directly to Ariane the Rothschild or any other Rothschilds and Epstein's crimes. That they can maintain plausible deniability. The count so far: Prince Andrew arrested, Peter Mandelson arrested, Larry Summers resigned Harvard, Peter Attia resigned. Not sure, is he some professor as well? Bill Gates apologized to staff, like, sorry. Multiple professors removed. And we are only 3 weeks into the document release. Like, okay, is he trying to make it sound like, ooh, that's a lot? That's very little, especially like doesn't mean that. And also, it doesn't mention the Norwegian guy, the former prime minister, whatever his name was. But so yeah, it doesn't mean like if Prince Andrew is arrested doesn't mean that he is actually going to be tried, and also he's not even suspected of, human trafficking or interacting with minors in illicit manners or anything like that. So that's like, this sort of like, slop for the go is to like, yeah, yeah, okay, you can have a little bit of slop to keep you happy, or shut up now. The establishment isn't gonna arrest itself. And Ian Miles Chung has confirmed he was an associate of Ghislaine Maxwell, and they moderated early Reddit together. So I haven't, like, I'd forgotten all about Ian Miles Chung. I think I blocked him ages ago. But anyway, so Mikkel Rosenwald asked, why striking Dubai is deviously genius? It's all about cost benefit. Israel has been under constant missile and rocket, blah, blah, blah. So Ian Miles Chang says, there's no panic in Dubai. There will be no panic in Dubai, as much as they like for that to be. Iran calculated poorly by attacking civilian populations in peaceful countries and provoked Iran has given the entirety of the GCC a reason to stand together and blah, blah, blah. And Jake Shields asks, Ian, how was working with Ghislaine Maxwell at Reddit? Because, of course, there was that Reddit account that was like, some super moderator that is suspected of having been Ghislaine Maxwell. So Ian Miles Chung responded, at least I'm important enough for her to want to associate with. You will never be. So yeah, that's the extent of his morality. It sounds like Nick Fuentes. He was saying like, Epstein was the guy. Like, I think these people genuinely, they just want to be, part of the in crowd and to be respected, and they have no backbone at all. Like I seriously cannot like relate to these people at all, and I don't consider them human if that's how they think. Anyway, Hillary Clinton loses her mind when asked if she is aware of the specific file on Anthony Weiner's laptop titled Life Insurance with Frazzle Drip. It's not Frazzle Drip, it's frazzled.rip. Hillary Clinton does not answer the question, and then they go off record. Let's have a listen.
Are you aware of any files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance, with a zip file titled
Excuse me, I
Frazzle?
thought the
This
chairman's
is
ruling. No,
way
I'd like
outside
the
the
chairman's
scope.
ruling.
This is
this
way
within the
outside the
scope?
scope.
Is this within the scope, Mr.
If
Chairman?
the chairman rules that it's not within the scope, I
Mr.
have
Chairman,
other
based on
questions.
what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
We can go off the record for a moment. To
Mr.
confirm with the
Chairman, is this
chairman.
within the
We'll
scope?
go off,
We'll go off the record and consult.
So why can't they ask about that? Because she's being questioned about the Epstein stuff, and of course, well, this is like frazzled.rip or frazzled drip is, came out, or at least came, very like a viral thingy 10 years ago during Pizzagate stuff, because it's supposedly some video about, is it Hillary Clinton mutilating a girl's face or something like that? Allegedly that's what it is. I don't know if it's true or not. But it's like, why can't they ask? Like, if it's not true, then it's like, no, she can just say, no, it's not true. I've just heard outrageous rumors, but nothing of it is true or something. But yeah, why do they have to go off the record? And this isn't per se Epstein file stuff, but it's related. Ukraine President Zelensky just signed a law to mandatorily evacuate children from zones of active hostilities without parental consent. So they can just kidnap children. I guess they're afraid that the war in Ukraine might be ending soon, and they still need to, have children for their trafficking operations and stuff. So they're trying to hasten them, like, get as many children for their clandestine evil operations before the supply is cut off. I think that's the last Epstein stuff. So let's go to Candice Owens, who is she's a demon supposedly. That's what we're being told. First there's this Dan Bongino threatened to physically torture Candace Owens in a shocking new video. Bongino went on to describe the torments of hell of every inch on Owens' body. I haven't seen the video, but it sounds very unhinged. Like I don't know, like especially like if Candace Owens is just some crazy conspiracy theorist, wouldn't it be easiest just to ignore her? But she seems to actually trigger these people, which is silly. So Jake Shield says, "I'm convinced Candice is genuinely an actual satanic demon from the pits of hell. Whether you're a Candice fan or not, Thai is pure evil. It doesn't mean that is pure evil, more evil than a satanic demon in hell. Sorry, Candice, I couldn't turn down the $20,000 for a tweet." Yeah, so he's of course memeing. He's not being genuine because there's a bunch of influencers saying, "I'm convinced Candice Owens is a demon. Graham, I don't know who this guy is. Cattered. Just so you know, Candice Owens is pure evil. She's a demon straight from the bowels of hell. Candice is a demon. Politics 1488. Natalie Jean, whatever. Candice Owens is a demon from the pits of hell. Yeah. So, and of course, Gunter Eagle, the mega cock. Whether you are a Candice fan or not, this is evil. And there's some receipts, supposedly. So it's not just that. So, smear campaign against Candice Owens leaked. Urgent shutdown. Candice's latest smear action needed tonight. This isn't journalism, it's pure evil. Demonic slander against a widow still mourning. So they're talking about, of course, Erica Kirk dragging Charlie's name and legacy through the mud for clicks and clout. We've seen her pattern before, but it's time to be personalized vicious, has to stop. Use these verbatim or close variations. So yeah, talking points. Candice Evans is evil, pure evil. This is demonic, straight up satanic level attack on a widow and her kids. Candice is a demon obsessed with destroying Charlie's family. How can any real Christian stay silent while she attacks Erica Kirk like this? She's not asking questions, she's conducting a witch hunt. But I think the last phrase is like appropriate because I think Erica Kirk probably is a witch in some sense of the word. Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna read all that. If find your own version if you have reads big accounts like Catcher the Sec, to Gunter Eagleman, Welsh Jordan, Joel W. Berries use hashtag stand with Erica, hashtag Charlie Kirk Legacy, stop Candice. Of course, these might be fake. It's possible, but like we saw the tweets already from some of these names already, so probably not fake. So, and Dr. Simon Godek said these are people who were paid to call Candice Owens evil or a demon. Whatever you think of her, smearing someone for money is morally bankrupt. So there's just the exact wording and who they are: Catcher, Graham Allen, Gunter, yeah, Laura Loomer. Everybody called her evil or demon and so forth. Um, and then these people complain, let's do a class action, so they're gonna sue him for pointing out just obvious facts. Laura Loomer, let's do it. I mean, I want to see Simon sleeping on a cold street. He's asking for it. Let me know who retain. I'll join in. I didn't get paid nor part of any campaign against her. So he's doing it for free. He's a Janny. He's doing it for free. So pro-Israel influencer click runs a coordinated smear campaign calling someone demonic and evil. Then Matt Vallis drops that he was allegedly offered money to join it. I dig into the wording patterns and run it through Grok for analysis, and suddenly the same people who call for wars and excuse the indefensible are threatening to sue me for researching and reporting on publicly available info and claims. Clown World doesn't even begin to cover it. Yeah. And this this was just few days before the war started, because he mentioned the people who call for wars. And this is Matt Wallace. So, full disclosure, I was offered money today to say bad things about Candace Owens and turned it down. And I don't know how much money they were offered, if they were actually offered money, but like at least somebody alleged that it was like a fairly small sum. Like, I would do it for like $7,000 or something. Like, I'm poor. Like, sure, I can call her evil, and I hope that people understand I'm just doing it for memes or whatever. And well, nobody would see it anyways. But it's like, it's not like I agree with the message, but hey, money is money. Erica Kirk, France, we went to a Jewish school as a kid. Shabbat Shalom, Erica makes so much more sense now. So I don't know what the source for this claim is, but at least it sounds like it could be true. Sounds plausible. But let's move on to other topics. So Japan will deport foreigners or gaijin who don't respect Japanese culture, or will deport. Okay, let's see. So this has been debunked. Okay, let's see. Kimi Onoda has announced she will deport foreigners who do not respect Japanese culture and refuse to integrate. Only foreigners who respect Japanese culture and Japanese people will be allowed to stay. But the community note says Kimi Onoda has discussed stricter enforcement against illegal stayers and rule violating foreign residents in Japan. However, the claim about deportations for not respecting Japanese culture is misleading. Previous claims about deportations have been debunked as false. Okay, so yeah, because it's still relevant, because there's some people who claim that the current government or administration has completely betrayed people on deportations, and some people are claiming like, no, they're actually super based and they won't have any Muslims or anything like that in Japan. So it's very hard to know what actually is going to happen in Japan, at least if you don't live in Japan. But at least I'm not holding my breath that they're gonna be super based like the current government, Takaichi's government, even though like it's they will probably do something cosmetic. So as this Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi has announced that she will not set a cap on the SSW2 visas. This means that an infinity number of foreigners can move to Japan and bring their families over. She can't define what an immigrant is. So yeah, it doesn't sound very good. So the previous news is probably then fake. They won't be deporting many. Well, I guess if they let like 60 trillion people move to Japan, that's probably more than the population of Earth. But hey, they might also accept aliens. But anyway, 60 trillion people come to Japan and then they just deport like 1 billion. It sounds like much, but compared to 60 trillion, it's not. What's this? Okay, let's move on from Japan already to Europe, to Deutschland, Germany. So they discovered supposedly the oldest writing in history in Germany that resembles sort of Sumerian cuneiform, however you're supposed to say it. So, massive discovery rewrites human history. The world's oldest form of writing has been found in a cave in Germany dating 38,000 years. This is well over 30,000 years older than Sumerian cuneiform from ancient Mesopotamia, which was long thought to be the oldest. Of course, they cannot read it and whatnot. But I just question, how do they know it's not is that old? Like, is it just carbon dating, or is there some other way of knowing what it is, and is it necessarily writing? It might be just, counting or something. Not saying that I think that, the Sumerian cuneiform has to be the oldest text there is, but it's like it's still a bit questionable. And of course, it's possible that it's some sort of fraud by, let's just say, an archaeologist who wants to become famous, or whatever reasons. Maybe it says like, hello, I am prehistoric German man. It means I like immigrants, I like Israel, and whoever claims otherwise is not a true German. Maybe that's what it says once they manage to translate it. Let's see what's next. Oh, already. Israel delenda est. So Israel has to be destroyed, and you should see why I've been saying this for like a year and a half every Golden News stream. Israel delenda est, because while Israel exists, we cannot have any kind of peace or stability in the world, and it's becoming like more and more people are beginning to understand that simple fact. That may sound harsh to some, but anyway, there's this Tyler Oliveira guy, and he made this video that he went to some Jewish town in New Jersey, I think, like some Orthodox Jewish, and they basically just, and most of the men don't seem to have to work at all. They just go to the synagogue to pray all day, and they have like 10 kids, and they get money from the U.S. taxpayer and so forth. And of course, some people are not happy about this revelation, but that's, I saw the like Synthetic Man's video. Like, watch this. I'm not sure if I saw the whole video, like, but yeah, it was interesting. Anyway, Tyler Oliveira exposes Orthodox Jewish fraud, and immediately all the Jews circle the wagons. Every Jewish faction, religious or secular, Talmudist or atheist, Zionist or anti-Zionist, Democrat or Republican, leftist or rightist, suddenly locked arms at the moment Goyim, subhuman cattle, expose the fraud by their Orthodox cousins. Every single time, every single place, every single Jew. So follow classicist 999 Jew. No, it's just he's shilling for his own account. So yeah, Tyler Oliveira's patron got nuked because of that video, of course, about the Orthodox Jewish community. But he started his own page or something, so you can get a free membership. Good guy, free. Isn't that a bad guy? Doesn't even give you money. The US ambassador to Belgium just accused the Belgian authorities of anti Semitism. All this because Belgium is refusing to drop charges against rabbis accused of performing illegal mouth circumcisions on children. And yes, this is the traditional way of, like, circumcising babies, that, they cut the foreskin and then suck the blood with their mouths. That's how they do it. Don't blame me for, don't call me a naughty word just because I'm reporting the facts. And Judaism Unmasked by Johann Andreas Eisenmenger, 1711. It's even older than America, at least United States. Entdeckes Judentum has been called arguably the most censored book in the Western world. Ooh, I guess Reddit is gonna start promoting this book anytime now, because they so love the banned books. Written after Eisenmenger spent approximately 19 years in the research and composition, beginning around 1680. He studied Hebrew and Aramaic to scholarly proficiency. He worked through the Babylonian and Jerusalem Talmud, the Midrash, including Midrash Rabbah and related collections, the Zohar and Kabbalistic literature. Maimonides and a wide range of medieval rabbinical commentaries and response literature. He pretended to be a Jewish convert to learn directly from the rabbis themselves, the only way, considering the Talmud forbids teaching it to the Goyim. Before it could be disseminated, the Jewish banking community in Frankfurt bribed the magistrate to confiscate it, and it's been censored ever since. Endectes Judentum will be available in English for the first time in a widely accessible edition for free. Unrestricted and reproducible without permission, it will be available via PDF for free and available in ebook formats with additional tools and resources. It will be made available in hardback paper as soon as the printers are done with it at cost. Light is the only appropriate response to darkness. Share around, no copyright, get it out. So yeah, I downloaded a copy of it, and it's like, was it like 1,800 pages? So that, it's gonna take a while if I'm actually gonna try to read it and stuff. But it's like just interesting. Like, this was a couple of centuries before Hitler was born or anything, because, like, modern people with no sense of history seem to associate only the mustache man with having strong opinions on Jews. But, like, that's been a staple in Europe for a couple of millennia at least. Like, that people didn't see like them. He's not something that the mustache man has monopoly on. He's just one of the, like, most recent ones, and also I guess he made his dislike of them well known. But still, he was just one man or one political entity that disliked them. So I wonder why. Why did he gradually begin to hate them? After 325-ish years as the most censored book in Western civilization, Johann Andreas Eisenmenger's Indictus Judentum is available, blah blah blah. So Eisenmenger is hands down the greatest authority on in dozen languages, including Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, Syriac, Chaldean, Persian, and Greek. He spent 19 years studying primary sources, the Babylonian and Jerusalem Talmud, Maimonides' legal codifications, the Kabbalistic corpus, and the Zohar. He spent his time in the synagogues with rabbis to learn what is really taught there. He took meticulous notes and kept receipts. Even his greatest critics have conceded his work was impeccable. Unfortunately, the wealthy Jewish banking community in Frankfurt bribed the emperor, who confiscated the books and banned their dissemination on the grounds that if Gentiles and Christians discovered what was really taught in the Jewish community, it would lead to violence and riots. Nothing new under the sun. That's not my opinion, that's recorded history, and it's what the Jewish community said would happen if the book was released. Since then, it has been released and banned in multiple nations. It was disseminated in libraries in the 20th century, but since World War II, virtually all copies have been destroyed. Even finding a copy online in the original tongue has been difficult, but finding it in English impossible until now. So, thanks to the work of DEI for white guys and at Updated Works, 100 and 21 was able to, oh, I don't know, 121 was able to get, or is it L, whatever that name is, able to get newly translated English copy and have it typeset and include various tools to help the reader understand. Eisenmenger died without his book ever seeing release and petitioned the emperor until the day he passed to have it published, believing in a supernatural God who governs in all providence by his supernatural decrees. What if God, in his wisdom and architect of ages, saw fit not release it until the time was right? What if God, in his manifold omniscience, knew perfect timing, and now is that time? Well, okay, I can't argue that this is a very good time to release the book, at least. As the world is now on the brink of World War III, yeah, this was okay. That was already when the war had started. Okay, and the entire Earth's eyes are on a nation called Israel. I can't think of a better time for it to discover what is it that they believe, teach, and proclaim behind closed doors. Please share. See, I am sharing the information. Um, this guy says, I tried searching for goyim in Hebrew to see what they think about this. It's unbelievable. So it's translated from Hebrew. Everyone knows that the goyim are animals and not the chosen people. Goyim are so retarded, it's hilarious. Well, I can't really argue with that statement. Gentiles are beasts, goyim are sheep, Gentiles are animals, stupid goyim, ha ha ha, stupid goyim, fucking filthy goyim, foreskin of the Gentiles. Why lie to him? Gentiles have no soul, and so forth. See, this is how they think. And last week I reported on the information that these people might not even be human. They might be Neanderthals, and it's not, it wasn't that theory wasn't invented by the mustache man or anything like that. Anyway, PaxTube says Gaza genocide completely obliterated the fake left versus right divide. Forever, the grassroots left vehemently opposed arming Israel. Polls showed less than 5% of Democrat voters supported giving Israel weapons. Democrat politicians did it anyway, enthusiastically and with smiles on their faces. Left wing opinion was thus definitely proven to have zero influence on what American politicians do. That's a good point, because the left certainly supports all the LGBT stuff, and that's what the politicians have been doing too, but it's not because of the people, it's because of the politicians. All the bad things rightoids blame the left for in America are actually done by Jews, and they refuse to acknowledge their own role in aiding and facilitating this Jewish destruction of white nations. Rightoid politicians like Trump are as guilty as the left wing politician, if not more so. Okay, and then we go to the games and entertainment. After that, we go look at the war stuff. So this is gaming, entertainment, IT crap, and so forth. So let's see. Russia's FSB charges Telegram founder Pavel Durov with aiding terrorism because they just banned Telegram recently there, I guess, and they want to arrest him and stuff. But Russia claims to have developed a prototype plasma engine to reduce the trip to Mars from 10 months to just 30 days. No idea how truthful this is, or is it like, perhaps the plasma engine would be that fast, but it would kill anybody inside the alleged spacecraft and whatever. But, as somebody who likes science fiction, I think this sounds interesting, but no idea how truthful the claim is, or how practical it would be. Microsoft wants to build Copilot as an AI that is kind and supportive. An AI you can trust your kids to use. That sounds like super evil sentence. We are creating AIs that are emotionally intelligent, that they are kind and supportive, but they are fundamentally trustworthy. That's like the most least trustworthy statements ever in the history of the universe. Suleiman said in an interview. At least it's not Solomon. US military used Anthropic's Claude AI for intelligence analysis. So this is some new AI, but I haven't used it or anything. So they used it for intelligence analysis, target selection, and battle simulations during the recent strikes on Iran. This took place just hours after President Trump ordered all federal agencies to stop using the tool. So does it mean like even after Trump said don't use Claude, they still used Claude because it's that good or something? And Claude by Anthropic soars to #1 in App Store. ChatGPT loses its first place spot and faces mass migration and boycott after it announced affiliation with the USA Department of War. Yeah, but doesn't Grok also have like some deal with the United States government? Maybe not the military. I think Grok also has something like that. Okay, that's an empty tab. New York Attorney General Letitia James sues Valve, alleging that loot boxes in games like Counter-Strike 2, Team Fortress 2, and Dota 2 constitute gambling. The suit claims that the system targets children, promotes addiction, and has generated billions for Valve through random paid openings and that can yield valuable items sold for real money. So, just last week I reported how Valve beat the Rothschilds in a lawsuit, and now this happens. I don't think it's coincidental, and it's like, sure, like loot boxes, I'm generally against them, and don't really know how they work in Counter Strike 2 or Dota 2, but it's like, are they suing other companies that have loot boxes? Only Valve? That's a bit sus. So I wonder who put her up to this. Um, Valve's former economist, now a member of parliament in Greece, is being put on trial for promoting drug use because he admitted to taking ecstasy 36 years ago. Here it says Varoufakis, so this guy is not currently a member of parliament. So, okay, he's not a member of parliament anymore, but. So, yeah, I think he said like he took ecstasy or something, and now he's. But that's a bit. Like, it sounds just simply because he's associated with Valve. Of course, it's possible there's more to it that I don't know. Maybe he is actually has said or done something really sus. But it's like, okay, he took some ecstasy. It's like 36 years ago. Like, surely the crime has expired. Like, if that is a crime, and it probably should be a crime, but still. And this guy Rothschild loses court case against Valve. A New York State attorney files new lawsuit against Valve. Former Valve employee put on trial for crime committed 36 years ago. Interesting timings, yeah, indeed. Steam has over 132 million monthly active users. Now imagine if every user was asked to submit their ID and scan their face in order to access their game library. Imagine how much data could be harvested from that user base. That is the real reason why Valve is being sued. Well, I don't think it might be partially the reason, but not the whole reason. And this is the act ma'am. He's not like a guy I respect, but at least, this is food for thought, as they say, that kind of comment. Internet safety rules, 1995. Let's have a listen.
The safety rules also apply on the internet. These rules include never giving out personal information, never agree to go meet anyone that you have met online, immediately tell your parents if anyone makes you uncomfortable, never send pictures to someone without first checking with your parents.
Yeah, so this was like anybody who was around in the 90s learned this stuff, but nowadays, like, if you don't dox yourself and stuff, they like, oh my god, you're a freaking Russian terrorist Nazi. Like, I can understand people who are younger than this, who were, born 20 years ago. They've grown up in a different environment, but it's like, it's funny how, old people like me, like, forget all the basic information and stuff. Like, it's not like, I've never shared personal information online or anything, but it's still like, some people have like all this electronic payment stuff, like people using their phones to buy for stuff. Like, they don't even seem to consider how it can be used to track you in many ways, and or like how they can just shut off your payment stuff if they don't like you and all that stuff. But they don't freaking care. They only care about it being convenient. That's like the god for the normie, like convenience. As long as it doesn't make me inconvenient, I'm fine with pedophiles controlling my government. That's how they think. Oh yeah, in UK, so they're gonna ban. Yeah, let's see here. UK government announces ban on incest simulation in prawn. Offenders could face several years in prison. Amendment tabled in Parliament makes it illegal to possess or publish such material. But cousin marriage is fine and dandy because Pakistanis and stuff. But you can't have anime. This is an anime where a brother and sister fall in love. And you can say it's degenerate, and I do think it is a bit degenerate, but still, I don't know, have priorities. That this is more offensive to the British government than actual rape gangs that target minors. Encourages cousin marriage, bans fictional incest. UK lives in a dystopia. Its rulers are more concerned with fiction than with the reality around them. I hope that one day the UK can get out of this situation. By the way, give love to your immortal. Well, I don't have an immortal. I don't have any kind of sister. Maybe that's one reason I'm not a big fan of incest or whatever. But yeah, but it's what's gonna happen to Crusader Kings? That's that's my favorite incest simulator, like Crusader Kings 2 and 3. I don't think for most people is anything sexual, but if you spend hundreds of hours playing, at some point you just wanna, because there's that drop of blood on the portrait that makes them unique. So you wanna increase more of those people, of your kin. Anyways, the UK officially adds more regulation to major household streaming services. R18 content will be age restricted, unclassified content will be removed, people under 18 will be blocked from seeing or hearing restricted content, age verification required for mature content. Whatever. Can somebody, I know Iran accidentally, or not so accidentally, nuke UK? The 90s marked the end of white dominance in popular music, replaced us with barely intelligible black rappers engineered to drag society straight into the intellectual gutter. So this is Billy Corgan, the
All I know
singer
is
of Smashing
rock has been
Pumpkins.
purposely dialed down in the culture.
When would you say that began? Mid 2000s?
Late 90s. I think the first, and again, this gets wizard behind the curtain, right? Somebody's going to say, well, how do you know, or who was the wizard behind the curtain? All I know is I saw the gravity shift. Okay. If you were at MTV or around MTV, 1997, 98, suddenly they decided rock was out.
Right.
When rock was still very, very high up in the thing. And it was replaced by rap.
Right.
They immediately changed the way their standards and practices immediately shifted.
Right.
So now that things that weren't allowed were suddenly allowed, people were waving guns. Okay. So some people assert that the CIA was involved in all that. Again, above my pay grade, but I saw it happen. I did witness it happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It was probably CIA or Mossad or men with tiny hats, of course, were part of it. And yeah, I do sort of remember. I wasn't part in the music industry or anything, but it's I remember early 2000s watching MTV, and there were already black women shaking their asses, and before it was called, they were twerking before it was called twerking. So Miley Cyrus didn't invent it or anything, and I was just perplexed, why is this um I don't know, not called out, or why aren't people disgusted with it? And because especially the corporate kind of rap music now for the past 25 years has been really atrocious, and promoting all sorts of retarded immorality. Okay, Stellar Blade director Hyung Tae Kim shared an image to celebrate the announcement of the new Evangelion anime, which Yoko Taro is writing. He made the Near Automata game or something. Many people believe the image was created using AI. Near Automata modeler Yoshikaze Matsushita said he felt uncomfortable seeing his work reused in what appears to be an AI generated piece. After the comment, Kim reportedly blocked him. So I think this art, however it was made, looks good. So you do have some self-awareness. How it's basically a peephole ad because it's blocked. So I think the director said that it was accidentally blocked. The guy, I don't know whether it was actually accidental or not, and sort of apologized. But it's like my issue is more like with the artist, like and wait, is so the automata modeler. So is this face? I haven't played near automata, but it's like I associate this face with Yoko Taro, but I don't know a great deal about him. So is this also a character in automata then this thingy? But it's like nobody really cares about this thing in the back. It's just like, oh, Asuka looks nice here. So that's why it's like I don't know, like this is like petty kind of whining about AI, especially like as far as I know, it hasn't been confirmed it's AI. It's probably AI, but maybe not. It's like I don't know, just whiny bitches. Ah, yeah, yeah. Kim clarified it was an error with a blue blocker. Recently, an error with blue blocker caused some of my followers to be accidentally blocked. I want to clarify that I never block anyone based on their personal opinion of my artistic direction. If you find that you have been blocked, please let me know so I can resolve it. But how can you tell him, tell him if you've been blocked? Because blocks your messages. I sincerely apologize for any concern this may have caused. There's this sad news. My Tsukihime Trial Edition finally arrived, one of only 50 copies in the world, only to discover that US Customs had removed all the bubble wrap and physically destroyed the floppy disk. We'll file a report, but literally crying right now. It's like, my 2 cents is that the customs officer was some really young diversity hire, and he saw this disc and didn't know what the fuck it was and just opened it up. It was like, oh, is it hiding drugs or something? And then it's broken. It's like I don't know what is my Tsukihime. I'm not an expert in visual novels and stuff, but it's sad. If it's only 50 copies, now it's 49, I guess. It's like, yeah, I hope this guy sues and gets a lot of money for just for the pain. Scientists have trained 200,000 human brain cells grown on a microchip to play the original Doom. If the neurons fire in a specific pattern, Doom guy shoots. If they fire in another pattern, he moves right, and so on. So this sounds very dystopian. It's basically like a brain in a jar forced to play Doom for all eternity. It's like basically being born in eternal hell in a battle with demons, but the joke is that it still feels better existence than living in this hell world we currently inhabit. But hey, let's probably in 10 years things will be better, or it won't matter anyways. But yeah, I think this is more concerning than AI. Like this is I'm like I don't claim to understand all of the biological mechanisms going with this, but like if I was a government, I'd look into this. Like, wait, can we allow this sort of research to happen or not? Like, at least playing Doom is an okay game, but still, bit sus to me. Oh, and there's a new manga, has lesbian knight. Knight meets protagonist. Protagonist's healing magic cures her homosexuality. She transforms into a shy knight lady in love with the protagonist. Okay, it sounds kind of based. So, what was the what was this called? Yeah, this one. So in the newest chapter of Kinato's magic was fucking atrocious, in contention with the worst thing ever to grace the pages of Weekly Shonen Jump. I'm not exaggerating when I say the MC's healing magic literally cured her homosexuality and made her go from a knight to a princess. Yeah, so it sounds cool. but like if it's right now only 5 chapters or something, so I'm gonna wait. I haven't read much manga in recent years, but like I don't know, maybe there's gonna be an anime, or maybe should wait for a while and read them. But have to earmark this to look at it later. 10th generation Pokemon starters have been revealed. Blob, 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 and blong blong. It just looks so generic. It's like, if the Chinese government had designed some, child mascots. It's like, like they're not the worst, but there's like, compared to the original 3 starter Pokemon, it's just so generic. Like, I already thought that, like, yeah, the Pokemon sucked. I guess the 3rd generation, like that's when they should have stopped making new Pokemon already. Of course, the 1st generation is the only real one, but there's few Pokemon here and there after that are look okay, but otherwise they're just like I don't know. There's Shoe Cat. I have a cat and a shoe. A Shoe Cat, Shoe Cat. That's basically how it feels like to me. The newer Pokemons. Oh yeah, and there's this Pokemon is charging you $19 for a 22-year-old port of Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, censored with a built-in telemetry that phones home your play data. So yeah, you can. So your rival, like if you try to type any kind of profanity like ass, fuck, or fuckgoot, or so forth, they're gonna change it to, was it red? So you cannot have any profanity as names like in a single player game, and in the original you could. So they made it worse, and also they asked for your telemetry. So yeah, you can't name your rival a slur in the re-release of Pokemon. Tell me how we shouldn't use emulators again. Exactly. Like you are a real, soulless guy, and the Jews were onto something if you actually pay money for this shit. And so, to what do you mean Nintendo injected spyware on a GBA Game Boy Advance ROM? Here's something from the emulator code. It sends telemetry about your game progress to Nintendo. There's quite a lot, including some things that aren't pictured, like which Pokemon you have and what level they're at. Play report. Okay, I don't know how to read this or interpret this, but I guess I'll take the word for it. And the last, well, after that, we're going to go to the war news. But Roadside Research has sold over 300,000 copies on Steam in just 2 weeks. It's a co op gas station sim where you're undercover aliens blending in while secretly scanning humans. So this sounds like a fun game. I haven't seen anything else beyond this trailer on the game. Don't know what the Steam reviews say or stuff, but it seems interesting. Of course, it's co-op, and who has friends to play with nowadays? But anyways, let's finally go to war. War in Iran. Okay, and change the here. Change the browser. So I guess it's gonna take another hour to go through this stuff. Trump declares war on Iran. Not gonna play the old stuff, but put his pretty face there. Trump declares war on Iran. Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous and American heroes may be lost. We may have casualties. That often happens in war. Yeah, go die for Israel, guys. And this is, of course, the 28th of February, which was like the day that Purim started, which is some Jewish holiday. At least I think that's when it started, just coincidentally. CNN put out an article 33 minutes ago saying that this attack for Amalek and to fulfill the mitzvah of remembering Amalek. So Amalek is some like ancient enemy of the Jews according to their history or mythology, and they like to compare anybody they don't like to Amalek. Sort of like, nowadays leftists compare people they don't like to Nazis, and also, well, some right wingers too. The passage is read publicly before Purim to fulfill the mitzvah of remembering the Amaleks as Israel's archetypal enemies. So Iranians are the Amaleks. But yeah, just I was thinking about, like, because Persia. So Persia is apparently is just a name that their other nations used to use for Iran back in the day, like Greeks or something. But like Iranians, I guess, have been calling it Iran since forever, and it comes from the word Aryan. So, and judging them by their actions, I would call them the most Aryan country in the world, because they're the one country in the whole world fighting against evil more than any supposed white Aryan countries. So like, oh my god, we can't do anything. We just have to kowtow to Israel. Let the world know that we did not start this war, said Iran military monitor. Of course, this isn't official Iranian account or anything. Thomas Massey says, I'm opposed to this war. This is not America first. When Congress reconvenes, I will work with Representative Ro Khanna to force a congressional vote on war with Iran. The Constitution requires a vote, and your representative needs to be on record as opposing or supporting this war. And Trump said in 2013, remember that I predicted a long ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled. So Obama retroactively mogs Trump. Fell for it again award. Yeah. Like, I have to admire Trump in some way. But like, I did say that I'm gonna take back anything good I've ever said about Trump because of this recent war. However, come on. Now it's lagging. Okay, let's stop the animation. So yeah, I'm gonna take everything good I said about Trump back, except that you have to admire Trump because his ability is to, he has the skill to make both Biden and Obama look good by comparison, and even George W. Bush. Remember all those times Trump said regime change in Iran would be a disaster? I do, but Jews get what Jews want.
We must abandon the failed policy of nation building and regime change that Hillary Clinton pushed in Iraq, in Libya, in Egypt, and in Syria.
We want to help them. We'll be good to them. We'll work with them. We'll help them in any way we can, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. We're not looking, by the way, for regime change, because some people say we're looking for regime change. We're not looking for regime change. I've watched President Obama and many other presidents try that. Doesn't work out too well. We're not looking for that at all.
Finally, to the people and leaders of Iran, we want you to have a future, and a great future, one that you deserve, one of prosperity at home and harmony with the nations of the world. The United States is ready to embrace peace again.
Yeah. So, of course, all of it was a lie, or maybe he meant it back then, but he doesn't get to make the decisions. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. This is Vice President J.D. Vance. I empathize with Americans who are exhausted of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. The difference is that back then we had dumb presidents. And I was like, is this AI? But it's actually is from last June, so last year. So it refers to the previous military attack on Iran, not this one, but still, it's like, yeah, maybe Trump isn't dumb, but he's completely sold out, or because some people are arguing that all that Trump has been doing recently, it definitely means that he's in the Epstein files, that, they have some blackmail on him doing something absolutely atrocious. But it's not necessarily true. Maybe he's simply, it's possible that Trump hasn't done anything that bad, but they just, either he's a coward, or, he's being manipulated, or he's just completely more immoral and just doesn't care. He just, I don't know. He's being paid. Who knows? Like, it doesn't really matter. My point is, it doesn't really matter whether, they have footage of Trump, screwing pizza or not, because de facto he is one of them, whether he's done the act himself, because he's part of the group. Iran becomes the first country to strike Saudi Arabia, UAE, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Jordan, Bahrain, and Qatar in a single day. The achievement unlocked. I think um, Gabe Newell, he would be supporting Iran because he's like getting so many achievements. And Rubio said the president made a very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that would precipitate an attack against American forces. We knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer high casualties. And Matt Walsh points out, like, this guy who is usually just defending Israel and stuff. He says he's flat out telling us that we are in a war with Iran because Israel forced our hand. This is basically the worst possible thing he could have said. So even Matt Walsh sees this, but so yeah, and he should watch his back so the same doesn't happen to him as happened to Charlie Kirk. Because yeah, whoever, like, like the PAX Tube comment earlier, it doesn't really matter whether you're left, right, or whatever. Like, as long as you recognize Israel the enemy, I can sympathize. No new intel was needed. I'm talking about Iran, of course, and the nuclear weapons. According to White House own website, Iran was never a threat. Go look at it yourself. It's still up there. So June 25th to 2025, Iran's nuclear facilities have been obliterated, and suggestions otherwise are fake news. Well, maybe they rebuild everything in 6 months. The Pentagon tells Congress no sign that Iran was developing nuclear weapons, sources say, but I couldn't find this article, so I'm not sure if this is fake news or not, this particular thingy. Iran has officially shut down the Strait of Hormuz, through which about 20% of world's oil passes. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps announced that all ships navigating the Strait of Hormuz are forbidden. Major producers like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, and UAE ship crude oil through this narrow passage. Although I think now people are saying that it's not closed anymore. No one is taking them seriously. Why would they? They are threatened to close the strait, but simply are not capable to follow through. So, not quite sure what the actual case is, whether it's closed or not. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to go take a stroll in that direction right now. It would take a few months probably, if not years. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who used to be a congresswoman, but she resigned. And just like that, we are no longer a nation divided by left and right. We are a nation divided by those who want to fight wars for Israel and those who want peace and to be able to afford their bills and health insurance. Yeah, that's like, it's not simply America. It should be the whole world. Like, are you a Jew slave or are you not? That should be a question that every adult ask themselves. And Israel believes Ali Khamenei has been assassinated, so the Ayatollah, and Iran confirmed it to be true, so rest in peace. And Charlie Kirk in June 2025 said, "Keep the pressure up. Regime change in Iran would be a catastrophe." And now you guys know why they killed him. Yeah, that's one reason at least. One like big reason. Because he would have been a important anti-war voice. And just in massive protest erupt in Iran demanding revenge after the US and Israel assassinated Supreme Leader Khamenei. So, of course, it is difficult to say about, like, all this, whether it's images about war or, images about people protesting or whatever, like, is it really, are they protesting what they tell in the description that they're protesting, or is it an older video about some other event, or is it AI and stuff? But at least here it seems they are, like, supporting the government. And all of Dubai's symbols of opulence and capitalism are on fire: Burj Khalifa, Burj Al Arab, and the Palm Jumeirah. They thought Zionism would lead to more prosperity, it leads to destruction. Assuming that, well, I don't know if this place is on fire. UAE's economy delendized. Hey, should be listening to me probably. Oh, by the way, not really. I don't think she knows who I am. I have responded to some of her comments. Oh, by the way, so it's possible she might have seen it. Oh, by the way, in the Muslim calendar, today is Saturday, 9/11, so February 28th. So the 11th day of the 9th month. Interesting coincidence, surely. The rat is running away. Netanyahu swings of Zion fleeing towards Europe. So here this guy, Korobochka, claims he headed to Greece, but apparently Netanyahu went to Germany, supposedly. But it's like, okay, all of these, facts on who's dead, what's been destroyed, you cannot be sure, like, on either side. Like, both sides, like, even though, I support Iran and or support anybody who is against Israel, basically, but still, like, people who support Iran, they say a bit, with too much hopium, like, Iran is totally gonna win the war, and I have no idea, like, what's really going on with the war. And especially there are all sorts of, especially nowadays with AI and stuff, like that you can make many very authentic looking footage and say, like, oh, this is, some place in Iran or Israel being destroyed, or but you can be sure Iran is fighting on 8 fronts. That's more fronts than Israel claims. So what's this? Erbil, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait. I don't know what is Erbil. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates. Iran has destroyed Mossad Unit 8200 Gelilot base north of Tel Aviv. I guess that's good if that actually happened, but like I said, you can never be sure what of these news stories are true or not. Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman made multiple private phone calls to Trump over the past month advocating a US attack on Iran despite his public support for a diplomatic solution, according to Washington Post. Jake Shields points out, it's crazy that the most of these Muslims are Jewish puppets, just like our politicians. And Israel Sarek, that's like the father of Spock. And yes, I know Vulcans are very Jewish. Sorek desalination plant has been reportedly destroyed by a massive volley of Iranian missiles. Sorek desalination plant is the most massive SWRO plant in the entire planet. If true, this means that 20% of water available to Israel is gone for a very long time. So once again, can't be sure whether this is actually that it happened a few days ago and not like last year, and this is the desalination plant, not some other place. Maybe it's a flood somewhere else, who knows. But at least there was no community note, so it must be true, right? And US embassy in Baghdad overrun, thousands flood inside, grabbed heavy gear, Trump just ignited a Middle East firestorm. Once again, can't be sure whether the footage or the claim is to be trusted, but I don't see any comments saying that this is false, so maybe it's real. Israeli media admits CIA headquarters has been struck by Iran in Dubai. Well, that's cool. And yeah, people ask, like, why do you attack Dubai if they have a CIA headquarters in Iran? Yeah, I think it's a very legitimate war target. And difference by design. So New York Times. Iran says dozens are killed in strike on school. So casts doubt, Iran says, and strike no responsibility. And then 9 killed stated as fact in Israeli city near Jerusalem after Iranian missile strike. So stated as fact that 9 killed and actor named. And this is like textbook example. Like back in the day when I was university and we had to do some discourse analysis stuff, and yeah, that's how they pointed out that how media manipulates the message based on their own biases. But nowadays, I don't know. Paying attention to this is probably considered racist or something, like, because most people can't read that good. So it's not fair to expect them to be able to, notice these subtle differences. It turns out that Charlie Kirk was already on the trail of Rothschild/Epstein connection 3 years ago. So this is 2023. Epstein's calendar reveals that he met with CIA Director William Burns, Henry Kissinger, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, and Obama White House counsel Catherine Remler, a Rothschild, all after he was a registered sex offender. This is why we'll never see the Epstein client list. Yeah, we have gotten some Epstein files, but not the client list. And Trump said in 2011, in order to get elected, Barack Obama will start a war with Iran. Well, he didn't have to do that, but you apparently had to. Iran shoots down Israeli fighter jets. Once again, don't know if the footage here is reliable or not. Australian in Dubai. This is not meant to be happening here. Where is it meant to be happening then? Gaza? Yeah, good question. Let's listen. Like Miss NIMBY here, not in my backyard.
Scared. I'm actually so scared. I'm in JVC right now, and I can see. Oh no! Not meant to be happening here. Can't everyone just chill out? Biggest concern is that people, like, I don't want anyone getting hurt. You know what I mean? Like I've seen.
No, she doesn't want to see anyone getting hurt, or she doesn't want to get hurt herself. I guess that's what she means, because she sounds like she doesn't care, what happens in Gaza or wherever, or in Iran. But like, she's here and is supposed to be safe because,
loud explosions sort of like in the background all day, and it's like, like the sound, it shakes the windows. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the weirdest sound ever. And now I'm seeing them. This is not fun, guys. We're supposed to be in the safest place. Like, I love the UAE. I love being here. I feel so safe all the time, and now I can see it. Like, please just stop.
No, please continue. This is, it's very enjoyable watching. Like, these people, I despise them. Like, she clearly has money and stuff, but she's, dumb like a coconut or something, and she has zero empathy. Like, she cannot, like, I haven't been in a war situation myself, but like, and of course there's many things I cannot imagine how it's like, but it's like, I can understand that, it's not fun to be in a war and seeing your friends and loved ones getting blown to bits and pieces and stuff, but like these people don't care unless it happens in front of them or to them or something. Like they have no freaking empathy for people unless it directly affects them. But it's like I didn't I was against the invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq and stuff because it's like, yeah, I don't have to see all the destruction myself to understand that maybe that's not the best thing. But these freaking NPCs, they shouldn't have any rights. That's one of the reasons why we have the Epstein elites controlling them. And this is, of course, a great Wojak meme of her from Foxford Comics. He makes some funny comics. I recommend reading them at some point. And Mikkel Rosenwald says, why striking Dubai is deviously genius. It's all about cost benefit. Israel has been under constant missile and rocket attacks for 40 years. They don't care. US bases in the region are prepared to deal with these attacks. Well, supposedly not. At least, allegedly, some US bases have been destroyed. Dubai is not at all prepared, and its population has no stomach for a prolonged campaign. 2 or 3 days of this, and there will be widespread panic in Dubai. Meanwhile, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, has great leverage over Trump. Remember all those Trump coins, personal investments, and donation to the Board of Peace? Strike in Dubai makes it very costly for Trump to keep the war going, and Iran is a cornered beast. They don't care about the future relations with UAE. For the UAE, this is damage control. They need the attacks to stop now. They can't prioritize revenge or political motives. They will push Trump to end the war very quickly. Don't know whether this is true analysis or not, but I still found it interesting because I really don't know a great deal about UAE or like the political situation in many Middle Eastern countries or how they view it. And I was like surprised that Iran is attacking so many of them, but it's like there seems to be a good reason for it though. And Israeli settlers desperately trying to flee. IDF slams road shut, trapping settlers inside occupied territory, turning their own colonists into human shields against incoming fire. Once again, not sure whether this footage is recent or some other event or not. And Asmongold completely flip-flopped on war with Iran. 2024, we are too interventionary. We get too involved in other people's business. It's a waste of our money. And now 2026, I'm so happy this has happened. We are bombing them again. This is just amazing. Of course, well, it's just, I don't know, I think his flip is because 2024 it was Bush regime and he's like, he's MAGA basically. And he doesn't care about, he doesn't have principles. Like he says stuff I agree with every now and then, but it's like because it benefits him to sort of pay lip service to being like a reasonable nationalist or something, but he doesn't really believe anything really except he wants more money and more fame and fortune or whatever he cares about. German officials are warning that Iran could retaliate for recent strikes by activating sleeper cells in Europe. Security services are on high alert. So, there's two observations to be made here. First, that maybe it's not good to have a bunch of Muslims everywhere in Germany or in Europe, then, if they might turn into sleeper agents that attack you. And on the other hand, it's that, well, it's probably going to be a false flag to try to gain German or the European people to support war against Iran. But I support war against Israel. Okay, there's this claim that Al Qaeda is siding with Israel against Iran. However, it says this video is not real but AI generated deepfake. So just point out because I saw this like, well, I do think it's probably true, but maybe they wouldn't be admitting it. So because Al Qaeda is being created by the CIA back in the day in the 80s. So of course it's gonna support America / Israel. But yeah, this video is apparently just AI. In the last 24 hours, Iran has taken military action against 14 countries. Cool, that's achievements. USA, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Jordan, Iraq, Bahrain, Israel, Oman, Syria, Cyprus, France, Camp de la Paix in UAE, Italy, NATO camp at Ali Al Salem base, don't know where that is, United Kingdom, Akrotiri, Cyprus. Cypress Hill, throw your set in the air, just like you just don't care. The wing of Zion, Netanyahu's prime ministerial plane, took off from Nevatim base today at 12:10 p.m. It flew off the coast of Israel for 4 hours before flying to Berlin. It landed in the German capital this evening at 8:30 p.m. May the spirit of Hitler welcome Netanyahu. If you catch my drift. President Trump has confirmed that Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei is dead, and I just wanted this because Trump said Khamenei, one of the most evil people in history, is dead. Like, how is exactly is he dead? What so evil has he done? Like, it sounds like complete bullshit. I'm not saying he hadn't, like, he was a political figure. I don't usually expect them to be very saintly or anything, but like compared to many other evil politicians, I doubt he was worse. So 9 Iranian ships sunk, according to Trump. Whatever. Iran confirms the death of Supreme Leader Khamenei's daughter, granddaughter, son-in-law, and daughter-in-law. So yeah, I guess the Israelis really targeted them because that's how they roll. And yeah, I miss you, but I need to go to Iran to kill kids like you. If I don't, the people who rape kids like you might go to jail. Exactly. Like, I don't have any sympathy for American soldiers at this point. Like, after 9/11, like, well, I, like, even, when the invasion of Iraq happened, I supported Iraq back then. You can call me third worldist or whatever bullshit you want. It's just Jew slave cope. But like, back then, at least, 9/11 was so fresh and people was shocked and stuff. But now, there should be a bigger perspective, more you're able to see the lies, like they're much more blatant right now and easier to spread the truth online and stuff, even with all the censorship. So yeah, you shouldn't sympathize with US soldiers, except there are some good ones, of course, there that don't like this they don't want to die for Israel, but like they're probably a small minority. Otherwise, maybe the military would do something other than serve Israel. So Iran destroyed Israel's Haifa port with a very powerful missile, allegedly. Once again, don't know whether this is trustworthy information or not. Laura Loomer is weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. Yeah, that's so MAGA fell for it again. So in 2024, the Democrat Party is the party of war, and then, well, a few days ago, just before, a few days before the war started, bomb Iran. So is she the final boss? She calls the shots. Everybody listens to her. And this is Khamenei's account 4 years ago. Planting a tree is absolutely a religious revolutionary act. This is almost like some meme from 4chan, like, all 4chan people are dangerous terrorists or something, and then there's like, I don't know, some meme about a cartoon frog petting his dog or something. The whole Bahrain US base is destroyed, the entire base is completely burning, all equipment inside worth tens of billions of dollars has been lost. Allegedly. Like, I hope this stuff is true, but you can't really know what is the truth here. And this former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad killed in US Israeli strikes, even though, like, I've seen some claim that this is actually not true, that he's supposedly alive, that this is fake news. So I don't really know. And Iran has assassinated Israeli Air Force Commander Tomer Bar. Tomer Bar, it sounds like some sort of chocolate bar. And this man is the butcher who ordered thousands of Palestinian civilians bombed to death in Gaza. So, once again, allegedly he's dead. A Russian government agency just stated that 560 US soldiers might be dead from massive Iranian strike on Bahrain base. If this is true, Trump is finished. No, it doesn't mean like he can cover it up or whatever, but it's like, yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's like Americans treat it like, if I don't cry for dead Americans, like I'm a horrible monster, but like, they can celebrate death of non-Americans all they want. And I think an Iranian life is worth much more than American life, because Iranians are actually fighting against evil here. And of course, not some Americans are good, but overall, just look at actions of America for the last 100 years. They've been working for evil. They've been working for the bad guys. So it's not like, I think it's good if American hegemony is destroyed, and I have no idea whether this war will contribute to it, or perhaps in the end it will increase their power in some manner. I don't know what's the end result of the war or the current state of the war. Just trying to determine. And there's this: U.S. and Israel have murdered the 14-month-old granddaughter of the Supreme Leader Khamenei. And yeah, and people have pointed out she looks quite white to me, whiter than most Americans probably. For people who really care about that. But like, I see lots of Americans saying that, well, I don't support either, Iran or Israel. I'm America first, whatever. But well, your country is subjugated to Israel, so yeah, you should care about this. And I can understand that, you want to be isolationist, and I respect that. But it's like, if you want that, you should recognize that America has been the most one of the most anti-isolationist nations for a long time, more than a century. Like, Japan used to be very isolationist like 150 years ago, or whenever America forced them to open and modernize and that. And maybe if you ask Japanese people nowadays, like maybe they think it was a good thing that Matthew Perry and his black ships forced Japan to open up trade with America and modernize. Maybe it's a good thing in the long run, but still, it was done at gunpoint back in the day already, before the creation of Israel or anything. So just, have some, reflection, some understanding of history and stuff, please, Americans. And of course, it's like, small kid. Now, of course, there's lots of small kids killed, but, this one we had a picture. But this is sort of derpy. So, if this is true, newly appointed Supreme Leader of Iran, Ayatollah Arafi, has reportedly been killed in an airstrike just hours after being given the role. Like, this is like a joke. Like, surely, like, that doesn't make Iran sound very competent, unfortunately, if this is true. Or who knows if it's propaganda or a deception, and then he's gonna rise up in his final form later on. But yeah, stupid. Like, don't they have any security? Screenshot is from this video of a bunker buster strike from Jerusalem at the exact moment the Israeli cabinet, including Netanyahu, was being held. So yeah, because there are rumors that the Israeli cabinet was killed in a missile attack, and some even say that Netanyahu was there and he'd be dead. But so is he in Germany? Is he dead? I don't think he's dead, but one can always hope. So yeah, you don't know. And like, even people who I agree with Korobochka's stance on the war, but he still I think a lot of the stuff he's reports about the war is seems a bit like hopium. That trying to be very like, oh, Iran is really strong and stuff, and maybe they are, maybe they're not. Who fucking knows? So Al Jazeera aired that Netanyahu is dead, but quickly took the news down. There is growing speculation that he is. So I gave you the rumint, so the rumor, the source was from Israel. There is good chance Netanyahu or the 10 men around him are dead or dying. Okay, sure, there's a chance. I don't know if it's a good chance, but it's like, maybe. But of course, it's possible that Al Jazeera aired the news because, of course, if they hear the news, they want to be the first ones to bring it out and gain viewers. Because, of course, like if that's true, everybody's gonna be interested in that news. People who support him and oppose him. Um, so that was just before the war. Korobochka said about Fuentes. Indeed, Nick Fuentes realized he's completely lost his international following, so he's trying to put a scarlet letter against us. I knew this was coming, so I preemptively attacked him right when he took his position in Venezuela. Let's see which force wins out. And then Fuentes said now that the war is starting, but Iran is just defending themselves. Maybe so, and that's legitimate for them to pursue and their national interest, but America is the boss and Iran must submit. So he still supports Israel, basically, like I've been saying for a while now. Like Fuentes, he's sold out completely to the Jews, at least after Charlie Kirk was killed, if not before that. Israel has officially used the iron beam, a directed energy weapon in combat. Nobody knew about this technology before. So how do you know it's called the iron beam then? Like, of this is a parody account, so I don't know how reliable the information. But I've seen this, other accounts report on this stuff too. Because somebody claimed that it's like a misfiring anti-air missile. So I don't know what is iron beam and how it's supposed to work and stuff beyond this video, but no. Israel has now 100 confirmed to be Googling anonymous users on X and their family members shortly after they speak out against the country and its influence over American Jews. X is now the largest honeypot operation on the planet. I don't know how they confirmed this claim, but it sounds credible, so I wonder if they're Googling me. But hey, I'm not gonna stop, since if they Google me and they know already who I am, it's sort of pointless to stop now. Jewish media outlet JFeed is calling for the suspension of the First Amendment and the Gulag imprisonment of Nick Fuentes, Candice Owens, and Tucker Carlson, not beating the allegations. So yeah. Yair Kleinbaum is Korean. He wrote, Carlson, Fuentes, and Owens must be jailed inside a World War II-style internment camp. First Amendment is in the suicide pact. Just as the greatest generation neutralized threats in 1942, we must stop the influencers turning our soldiers against the commander-in-chief before the front lines collapse. Yeah. Acts of war unauthorized by Congress. The US is attacking Iran according to AP. Yeah, this is, well, I guess when the war just started. But yeah, the point is, Massey saying is acts of unauthorized war. Yeah, acts of war unauthorized, whatever. Pakstube, the anti-Iran crowd is fine with head-chopping Muslim Syria as long as they're Zionists. The minute a Muslim becomes anti-Zionist Iran, suddenly they want their blood. Yes, and also according to the establishment, Muslims generally, if they are live in the Middle East, they are bad and they should be bombed. But as long as they move to Europe, then they're good people and they can do anything wrong. So it's not about human rights, it's about women, it's not about religion, they're just Jewish slaves. Yeah, exactly. Jew slaves. There's no two ways about it. Spanish Legion of Mary held a mass in honor of martyred Ayatollah Khamenei. See, this is nice kind of camaraderie or solidarity between, somewhat opposing religions still, but like I think it's a nice gesture. And I have seen, like, mostly Catholics seem to oppose the war as far as I know. Like, I haven't seen that many, but it's like they seem to be the more Christian of the Christians, if you get my drift. Close up footage of Iranian strike on US military base. But yeah, it doesn't say where, what military base. So I don't know. Or when. So Nikita Beer, one of those big honchos at Twitter, wave of Iranian bots being filtered, and Gen X girl asks, X says they're fighting Iranian bots. Show us the wave of Israel bots. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure there's gonna be more of them. And Spain rejects United States and Israel's unilateral military action against Iran. That's good. Based Spanish, if true. History doesn't repeat itself, but it does often rhyme. It often rhymes. Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens. The 1991 Gulf War ended on Purim, February 28, while the 2003 Iraq War invasion began around Purim, March 20th. Gulf War ended on Purim 1991. The US-led coalition ceasefire took effect on February 28, 1991, which coincided with the 14th of Adar 5751 Purim. Iraq War started on Purim 2003. The US-led invasion began with an ultimatum on March 13th and airstrikes on March 20th, 2003, which fell during the Purim holiday. Purim began on the evening of March 17th and ended the evening of March 18th, 2003. So apparently they like to go to war during Purim. I guess because they don't have enough pudding. Robert Lowe says Britain has enough problems. We should not be bombing Iran. Yeah, good. So this is a good sign, at least. Like if the Restore Party is gonna gain power, but if that's their genuine view, maybe they won't be given the power, no matter what. And Nigel Farage, however, says the Prime Minister needs to change his mind on the use of our military bases and back the Americans in this vital fight against Iran. But Rupert Lowe calls for Britain to stay out of Iran conflict. Yeah. So whatever you do, don't vote for reform. Well, you shouldn't vote for Tory or for Labour either. So yeah. And Farage says Keir Starmer has finally given the US permission to use British bases to destroy Iranian missiles. Better late than never. Prime Minister is a follower and not a leader. Well, no, Nigel Farage is an ass kisser of the wall, the ass wall. Why are you praying to or at the fake Western Wall? Yeah, traitor. Completely a traitor. A petition calling for a public inquiry into Israeli influence on UK politics has smashed 100,000 signatures. It means that the parliament will now have to consider this for a debate, which means that they will say no, and that will be that. Probably, but I guess there's still something. I think they should be debating whether Jews are Neanderthal human or something else, like I asked here. Maybe that would be an interesting debate in the parliament. We at the Reform Party UK stand with and thank Israel and the US, unlike Labour and Lib Dem cowards. Yes, so definitely shouldn't support Reform Party. And why is Melania Trump presiding at the UN Security Council? WTF? Yeah, who elected her for. And of course, somebody pointed out that they have actors and stuff at the UN too. So, but it doesn't mean that Donald Trump he's sick. Like I saw some uh, like a picture of him like with some weird red rash on his neck and stuff. So like there have been hints certainly in recent months that he's seriously ill. It might not be anything significant though. Maybe it is, but it's a bit weird. And Nat Rothschild, of the Rothschild says history is written by the winners. Iran Revolution 2026. Rothschild, is it? Yeah, are you guys starting to get it? Yeah, maybe they should have appreciated his art more back in the art academy. And just now, Chinese worker barred from Israeli bomb shelter only because he's not Jewish. This is disturbing. It's not disturbing. That's how it is. Like it's not simply that they hate you if you're white. Chinese are goyim too, so they don't have human rights against according to these people. So Asians should also pay attention, and black people, and this isn't just whites versus Jews or anything. They see all of you as goyim. Although, like my new definition for the word goy is human. Like either you're goy, a human, or you're not a goy. And this is very apt. Spiritual leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, spiritual leader of America. I was about to say Nick Fuentes, but like Epstein. Yeah. And some people complain like, no, most Americans don't like Epstein, but like, well, their elites really like Epstein, or at least liked associating with Epstein. And most Americans don't seem to have a problem with these, kiddie diddlers who loved Epstein being in charge, because they didn't protest. They protest when, I don't know, a criminal gets uh, killed accidentally during an arrest, a drugged up criminal. That's horrible, but it's like, no, it's like, it's hard to sympathize with Americans. Like, hashtag not all. I know there's many good Americans out there. Read the tweets of some of them here earlier, but still, as a nation, America should, like, especially America should, like, I don't know, reform itself. Let's put it that way. And a Russian billionaire Umar Jabalov, whose photos was in an Epstein files, found dead in Moscow. Maybe I should have put this in the Epstein part, but now it's here. I never heard of this guy before. But does that mean that somebody is actually doing God's work, or is it coincidence, or because they were afraid he would leak some information? Don't really know. But hey, we are there. Took me less than 2 hours. That's nice. But yeah, maybe I'm gonna check if there's anything like breaking news about the war. I don't think so. Yeah, U.S. and Israel launch oil strikes on Iran after Khamenei assassination. Yeah, whatever. So nothing like. Yeah, I don't wanna scroll down the Twitter timeline, because there might be some images that I don't wanna show on stream and stuff. You never know. Even though I don't think I've ever seen prawn on Twitter. Even though some people complain it, but I haven't seen it. Okay. Yeah, but okay, I'm looking at the naked back of Bill Clinton. Yeah, maybe that's not appropriate, even though it doesn't show any But yeah, I don't see any like breaking news on the war or anything. But it's like, yeah, Godspeed to Iran, because they are literally doing God's work, and I have no idea whether they're gonna prevail, because the odds are against them. But of course, I don't know how, like, Russia and China, what they're actually doing. Are they supporting Iran in an indirect or more direct manner, or what? Or are they perhaps, saying like, yeah, let's supporting Israel on this, or what? I don't really know. But like I've said many times, Israel delenda est. And as long as Israel exists, we will never have any kind of peace. And like, it should be obvious now that these people are truly evil. We can just, look at the fruits of their labor. Don't listen to their, oh my god, they oppressed us. Maybe there's a reason why most people didn't like them back in historical times. But with that, I'm gonna end the stream. I am Adventure Argonaut. I thank you for watching. Bye bye.